Proem. In every part of the world, deep in sweltering jungles, high atop mountain peaks, tucked away in rolling hillsides, valleys, plains, and vast deserts, there lies a series of magical, mystical lakes. You might say, all of nature is magical, and you would be correct. Yet there is something unique and special about these particular lakes. Legend tells that they were placed in every part of the world, so if they ever lost their way, the human, animal, plant, and mineral nations had a connecting bridge back home, a reminder of the source from which they had come. These mystical lakes were designed to be a sacred place that would give whomever asked a question to them the answers they were searching for. Yet take heed, the answers are not always what one wants them to be, but rather the answers they truly need to hear, to heal, and to grow. In their waters, they would reflect one's inner treasure and the kind of dragons that fiercely guarded it. They were to be a place that would show any adventurer what was holding them back and how to let it go. Also, illuminating just how magnificent and important those that peer into them are. And little one, you are so very important. Now, our story begins long ago, deep in the wide cosmos, shortly before the first rains fell upon the earth. Somewhere between here and nowhere, a group of loving spirits gathered together with their Creator and were tasked to be the stewards of something special to be introduced to a new planet. It had happened in the past in the universe, yet for these spirits and the planet, it was unlike anything they had known. That is when the source sparkled with a brilliant light and spoke in a musical voice. Dear ones, thank you for your lovely presence here, in which they all beamed back with gratefulness and honor at being called. Smiling, the source pointed to the earth, continuing, I'm going to bring a creation called water to this young rocky world. It is going to quench her thirst, and all kinds of life forms will emerge from the oceans, the rivers, and lakes it produces. Dear children, would you be the guardians of these lakes and help those who may have gotten lost on their journey through the stars back home again? Creator, what is a lake? One of the spirits spoke up, feeling a special connection to that word. It will be a large pool of water that settles in special places and gives life, strength, and nutrients to all the spirits coming into form. From the clouds it will come as rain, and lakes will emerge, creating rivers that will flow down from the mountains until it becomes a sea. We all return to the sea, the source replied with a wink. A lake sounds like a lovely place. How amazing it would be to help others return home to the sea, another spirit answered. And all nodded their heads in agreement as they began envisioning a plan. As the source watched them in their joy and excitement, tears formed in its eyes, covering the earth with thick clouds. I am so thankful. You have all my love. These tears will help get you started, the source happily voiced, as all the spirits watched the clouds form around the new planet. Just then, one of the spirits spoke up excitedly. I've got it! We find a cloud to lie down in, and when it turns to rain, we will melt into water drops and follow the rain down to the earth. Wherever we land is where the new creatures will need us. That is a marvelous idea, the source replied. Just remember, this planet will be a unique one in which those who come here will forget why they came. The spirits, looking puzzled, asked, Why is that? This world is a place created to grow, and how can we grow if everything we already know? It will be through forgetfulness that they can experience the joy of remembrance. The spirits smiled in unison at their Creator's words and readied themselves for a new adventure. Go, the source said, and help these loved ones always know that even though they may have forgotten, they are not forgotten. With that, the loving spirits jumped away and found individual clouds hovering over many magical spots on the planet. Sending a powerful ray of light from the sun, the source burst open a hole in the clouds that completely encircled the earth and watched happily as the light poured in. As it bounced back upward from the rocks below, it began bursting through the clouds, turning them into rain. It rained for many different faces of the moon until one day, it stopped for a moment to reveal vast blue oceans, flowing rivers, and beautiful lakes. Many turns around the sun ensued, and eventually all manner of creatures emerged from the waters. First, there were tiny microscopic creatures that eventually turned into algae, that turned into plants, that brought forth animals, and finally, after years innumerable, human beings walked the lush planet. No creature was greater than another because they all came from the same place and all had the same living source within them. Over time, all those creatures, for the most part, stayed in that deep connection to their Creator. But as you may recall, some had a more challenging time remembering than others. You see, humans are nature, just like everything else, yet they were given a slightly different mission. That mission, mostly unknown to them, was to forget their nature and remember who they are all over again. At first, all humans knew about these magical lakes and visited them often to talk with the loving spirits. But over time, the humans began to turn their interest away. They built cities, roads, and all kinds of marvelously inventive things and began thinking that they didn't need help from the spirits of the lakes to figure anything out anymore. They could do it all on their own, or so they thought. With that, the pathways to the mystical lakes eventually were overgrown and became mostly lost. Yet the eternal lake spirits were not worried. This is what the source said would happen, they recalled. Here we will be, waiting patiently for anyone who may seek us, or who is unknowingly led here. So to this day, these magical spots exist deep within sweltering jungles, high atop mountain peaks, tucked away in rolling hillsides, valleys, plains, and vast deserts. Anyone that comes and peers into the reflection in the lake will receive a special gift, the gift of truth, the gift of seeing all their beauty and all the ways they ignore that beauty in themselves and others. Remember, asking the lake a question and peering deep into its waters may just tear down the very world one has built around and within them. You will see your darkness and what is holding you back, but also the magnificent light of your soul. We will all come to a moment when we will feel a pull to change, a pull to remember, and a pull to know. And when that moment comes, the reflective mystical lakes rippled a smile across their surface. Here is where we will be, waiting to help them home.